The random generator of potential football manager challenges. Okay, let's see. The next time I press this generate idea button, this is going to be our challenge. You will manage Shanghai Shenhua, initially using a 3-3-3-1. Your ultimate goal is to develop a successful formation nobody has ever seen before in world football. The more asymmetrical, the better. This is the good challenge. In case you didn't know, Shanghai Shenhua is in the Chinese league, and they are predicted to be the 5th best team in that league with some challenging club cultures. But challenge accepted. We are hired as manager, and that formation is definitely not a 3-3-3-1, is it? So it's time to make some changes around here. And I've added the kits. We've got a wonderful 33,000-seater stadium and have 2 Chinese championships to our name, as well as 3 Chinese FA Cups, including one 2 years ago. So the challenge said to be successful with this tactic, and I would consider success a trophy. So we got to win that FA Cup once again, or challenge for the league title and win that. And like last time, our biggest local rivals are the favourites to win the league, and their key player is Oscar, formerly of Chelsea. But looking at their team, you can see they actually have many good players such as Wu Li, the best Chinese player arguably on the game, Matthias Vargas, who is incredible as well, and another Brazilian called Paulinho in midfield, he's better than the majority of the players in this league, let's just say that. And this is our team, and no surprise that our best players are the 2 foreign registered players, starting with Bolaños, who will probably be a striker, as I'd imagine we don't have a good one in that role. And Christian Bossagog, a pacey winger or striker who tries tricks and has a lot of flair, but he lacks composure, so I'll probably keep him out wide. We don't really have a transfer budget either to make any different changes. Now I've decided to make this challenge even harder, not to make any transfers in this first part. If I feel like we get halfway through and the transfer window opens, I think it's in July, and we need something, then I'll make a change right then. But for now, we're keeping with just this team. So let me show you what I have built then. This is a 3-3-3-1 as requested. Now, I've got 2 centre defenders on defend. We don't have ball players. They're not very good. So we're just sticking with something simple. We also have an inverted wing-back on attack because I love that role. Not only will it help this little gap here in the midfield, but you kind of sometimes see him on the edge of the area, so I think that'll be quite good. We do also have 2 defensive duties in midfield because I think that is quite crucial, only playing this weird 3 at the back style formation with a ball winning midfielder on defend and a defensive winger. So we're not really relying on this guy too much to go forward. Saying that though, we do have a centre midfield on attack next to them whose one goal is to get further forward and create a 5-man attack when needed, but his main job is to sit slightly deeper than the 3 in front of him. Now, we have that really good winger, of course, in Basogog. I think he's called Basagog. He will be crucial for us to get a lot of assists, hopefully, down this right-hand side on a winger on support role. We've got an attacking midfielder on support as well, so hopefully he will drop back when necessary. And my favourite role of this whole year of Football Manager, the shadow striker on attack, right here, in behind and advance forward. And this is as asymmetrical as you can get. So that's exactly what they asked for. I don't know whether this is going to work. I really don't. But let's take a look. We got a positive mentality in possession here. We got play out defense, extremely high tempo, working the ball into the box. Haven't selected too many things. I might see how it plays out, or we might maybe look to overlap and focus the play down the right-hand side, seeing how that goes. In transition, of course, it's a gegenpress. It has to be. We've got to give ourselves a bit of an opportunity or a bit of a chance. Rolling it out is distribution and out of possession. We got a higher defensive line. I toyed around with making it standard. I think going high is the way to go, maybe. A much higher line of engagement because we've got that 3 lots of midfield, attacking midfield, and striker using the offside trap, and we got prevent short goal kick distribution with a much more trigger press. So we're really pushing them further up, and our defensive width is to stay narrow when we can. But I haven't really given them too many player instructions. Occasionally I like to do the shoot less often, of course, and tackle harder when I think it's necessary. But other than that, I'm kind of just leaving it down to them. So that's the tactic. Let's see how it does. Now, from looking at the friendly results, I can't really tell how well this tactic is going to work, but our first game is Shandong at home. And they took the lead through none other than Marouane Fellaini. Yes, former Manchester United and Everton midfielder Fellaini, who's a monster in this division at 6'4", when you see the average height for a Chinese male being 5'7". And I think he would have been proud of our equaliser with an amazing header from the edge of the area. And in the 87th minute, we brought a bit of luck and scored the winner to claim the first 3 points. However, in the second game, we lost a player to a straight red card in the 2nd minute of the match. And that cost us against Beijing, who capitalised on the extra man, winning 2-1. We managed to earn 3 points again in the third match with a great 5-2 victory against Shangcheng, including a beautiful free kick from Bolaños for the third, and a lovely team build-up play, through ball and finish by Wu Ji. And at this point, we were sat in 5th place, but I am kind of worried we don't really have a single player who we can rely on goals. Bolaños is just not cutting it. It was also at this point I realised the current holders of the competition no longer exist, which I found really strange. So I did a little bit of research. I just typed their team name into Wikipedia. I didn't really do that much research. But it was this team that bought Ramirez from Chelsea for £25 million and Alex Teixeira from Shakhtar for £37 million before winning the league for the first time in November of 2020. And just 4 months later, the parent company announced operations were going to cease immediately due to financial difficulties. But I just can't for the life of me wonder why they had financial difficulties. But anyway, our month of April doesn't look too tough, with most of the clubs we face predicted to be in the bottom half of the league's quality. So other than adding the focus to the play down the right hand side, I'm keeping the tactic as it is. And next up, we face fellow English manager Chris Taylor, and its side give us a good scrap as we shared the points in a 2-2 draw. I also don't get why people say share the points now in football, when if you draw a game, it's 2 points shared. Well, if you win the game, it's 3. So there's 1 point that's gone missing there. But hey, we move on. And in the very next game against the worst team in the league, we lost 2-0. But what was crazy was the next game, we flipped the performance completely and played absolutely outstanding, scoring 3 goals and 3 very good team goals at that. Our tactic looked fluid on the break and we really overwhelmed the opposition. And it got even better in the next game too, when we were 4-0 up before the half-hour mark. Bolaños gave us the lead on the 2nd minute and Wu Ji got the second on the 11th. But once again, we have lots of different scorers, and although that can be good, it is also rather worrying. The following match, a 3-1 away win, was the same. 3 different goal scorers, with the third goal being the highlight for me. A beautiful pass and move from Wu Ji, who finds Peng, cuts inside and smashes one into the top corner with his left foot. That keeps us in 2nd in the league, but teams around us have games in hand, and we are 8 points adrift of our rivals too, which is rather frustrating. But that is who we have next, at home, followed by our first game in the Chinese FA Cup. And the game against Shanghai didn't get off to the best of starts when our right back, who originally looked like he took the ball, brought the player down. The decision went to VAR and a penalty was given, and he was shown a straight red card. They scored the resulting penalty, and 5 minutes later it was 2-0 and Wu Li put in the second. Our rivals well and truly overwhelmed us, and it was Oscar who scored the third 2 minutes later. We did win the second half though, when Bolaños was through and dinked the goalie. Thankfully though, in the FA Cup we recovered quite well despite allowing them 16 shots in the game. And once again, it was Bolaños who this time scored 2 very quick-fire goals, with the second being a case of the right place, right time from the rebound off the post. And we kept that going with a 3-2 win against Hebei and a 3-1 win at home to Tianjin. And by the way, I'm really sorry if I'm butchering all of these names. After going a goal down early on in the 5th round of the Chinese FA Cup, it was Basogog who bailed us out, starting off with that screamer. He doubled his goal tally in the 38th minute and finally put in his hat-trick from the spot as we won 4-2. The final game of the month was a 3-1 victory against Guangzhou City. And even though we had that good run, we are still only in 4th place and 6 points behind Shanghai Ports. And as I mentioned, we don't really have a goal scorer, as our midfielder is currently leading the statistics with 8 goals in 14 games. We got 3 games before that transfer window opened, starting off with a trip to Wuhan. Yes, Wuhan. So I am buzzing that we have gone there and defeated them 3-2. We followed that with a trip to Dalian Professional, where Wu Ji opened up the scoring for us in the 9th minute. We continued to score goals and had a total of 26 shots throughout the match, which does tell me this tactic is successful in doing its job, as intended, and the players seemed to gel really well, finding gaps and making fantastic runs to prevent the opponents from containing us in attacks. But again, we managed to score 6 goals, and there were 6 different goal scorers. And back home, we beat Guangzhou 1-0 with a beautiful team goal once again. I'm genuinely really enjoying using this tactic. And with Shanghai Port taking another loss, we are just 3 points behind them, still in 3rd place. But with an actual striker instead of using a midfielder up there, we could actually make this a season of success. And so I had a bid accepted for Elkerson, £1.7 million at Gremio. He's a fantastic player, and he's actually Chinese, with 8 goals in 10 games for China. Obviously, he is originally not from China, but he has a Chinese nationality after the many years he spent in the league following his move in 2013. He's even played for our rivals. And very soon after, we got the deal completed and successfully registered. It is pretty much all of our budget, but I'm confident he makes the impact we need. He debuted against Shenzhen, but failed to get on the score sheet, but it is time for the 2nd versus 3rd clash against Shandong. And it only took Elkerson 7 minutes to get his first goal for his new club. However, despite trying to defend for our lives, late in the game, Shandong took advantage of our 3-3-3-1 and not having a left back, and found space to equalise at the back post. Although he scored in the next game in a 2-0 win, he's failed to score since in the next 4 matches, and we've won 2 and drew 2. And even though we dropped these 4 points, we are still in a title challenge somehow, just 5 points adrift. But for now, let's focus on the Chinese FA Cup quarter-final. And we come out the block strong, taking the lead in the 14th minute. Then new signing Elkerson doubled the lead 20 minutes later, but the highlight of the game was when he stepped up and scored an audacious free kick right into the top corner, sending us through to the semi-final. And he carried that form into the next match too, picking up 2 goals in a 6-2 victory. And topped it off with a 10 out of 10 performance in the next game at home, scoring 4 goals. 2 great finishes to start off, a penalty for the hat-trick, and yet another world-class free kick in off the post for the 4th. And that's now 8 goals in 9 league games and 10 in 10 overall, with a semi-final up next. And that semi-final is against top of the league and rivals, Shanghai Port. And in a game where we are being dominated, it was a wonder strike that broke the deadlock in our favour. Elkerson then doubled our lead in the second half. Shanghai Port come back late in the game to score a goal, but it wasn't enough, and we held on, sending us through to the final. We actually play Shanghai Port next as well in the league, and are just 2 points behind them. But unfortunately, we couldn't transfer our cup form into the league, and Shanghai Port take the 3 points, even though Elkerson picked up another 2 goals. We bounced back with a 7-3 win, Elkerson picking up yet another brace. Home leg this time against Wuhan, and a dodgy own goal putting us in the lead. Beautiful build-up play released Elkerson for a second, and in the second half, Wuji got us the 3rd. With 3 games left, we have an outside chance to win the league, but still, it is a chance. We then beat Guangzhou City 4-3 with an 84th minute winner, but Shanghai Port faced league leaders at the time, Shandong, and held them to a 1-1 draw. Perfect for us really in the penultimate game week, as we are winning 2-0, Shandong are drawing 0-0, while Shanghai Port bag a 3-0 win, leaving it so close with just 1 game left. We are needing a big turnaround to win the league and for both teams to lose, ideally for us to take that league title. But Shandong are also in a striking position too. Speaking of Shandong, we've actually got them next in the first leg of the Chinese FA Cup final. Yes, annoyingly, the final is played across 2 legs, despite all of the rest of the draw being just 1 leg. But we absolutely played out of our skins, especially in the first half, and we dominated the game with 60% possession, scoring some beautiful goals as well, linking up the play and finding each other's runs perfectly to win the first leg 3-0 before going to the away leg. Final game of the league season, and it's Guangzhou who host us, while Shanghai Port is away to Beijing, and Shandong has a rather easy tie against Hebei. And we did our job, coming back from being 1-0 down to winning 2-1 in the 88th minute in dramatic fashion. But was it enough to win the league? Unfortunately, no. Both teams above us win their games as well, and it's our main rival Shanghai Port who have been crowned champions by 2 points. But I would have bit your hand off for a 3rd place finish at the start. So we pin our hopes on this season for the FA Cup final then. We obviously have the advantage, so it's up to us to make sure Shandong finishes 2nd in both the league and cup this season. And we almost put them out of reach immediately when a long ball found Elkerson to make it 4-0 on aggregate. But Shandong, to their credit, came back back, scoring not 1 but 2 goals in quick succession, and pushed it to us once again to put our names on that trophy early when we scored a goal in the 84th minute and finally in the 86th minute and crown ourselves Chinese FA Cup champions. So with the cup win and a 3rd place league finish, is that considered a success for a 3-3-3-1 asymmetric tactic? I think I would say so, yes. So why not watch this video as well, where I simulate 100 years of a World Super League pyramid. It's fantastic. Some of the results are hilarious and some of the big teams, they plummet. Go watch that one right now.